come draw with me on my comic making process. So, first of all, right away, I had a story premise that I wanted to do of a young werewolf seeing her school for the first time, and this is a special school that teaches monsters. So, the intent was to show the school was remote, to say that she's excited and a little bit freaked out about the school, and to introduce the school itself. To achieve that, I mainly worked on using scene to scene. If you would like to know more about panel transitions, feel free to check out my video where I discuss the different types of panel transitions. So I went through multiple iterations in order to express the narrative that I was looking for, and I finally decided on a long shot, a medium shot, and a wide shot again. I wanted to show the extent of how long the distance was to travel. I wanted a close-up on her face or a medium shot of her surrounding area. And finally, I wanted most of the panels to take up the school itself. Since the school is the main setting, I wanted it to be introduced almost like its own character. So now that I had the really rough ideas put in, I decided to start working on the second version of the rough copy. You could say like the next edited copy, where I start putting in more details and more information into the panels. Prior to this, I already kind of decided what I wanted her to look like in a character sheet, so I was not working off the top of my head, and I already had plans of what I wanted her to look like. While I was drawing her face, I decided that her face, while it looked nice, didn't quite give the whole excitable idea that I wanted to work on. So you'll see I'll fix it a bit later. I started to put in more details in the background because I wanted to have room for her speech bubble and more reaction. You'll see then, I started to put in more of her reaction. I figured that her position was a little static, and so I decided to give her more of a free-flowing movement in the spine and added more dimension in her expression. After that, I continued on with the bus. Before, it couldn't just be in the background. I needed to express that she had just gotten off the bus, so I drew it in a perspective like she just left it and is turning around to look at the school. Everything needs to be working together to promote the narrative. And in order to make the panel look more lived in, I added a few more characters to make the area look more lively. Finally, I decided to tackle the most difficult part of the panel, designing what I wanted the school itself to look like. I wanted to give it character and whimsy, and at the same time, a kind of simple majesty. So I decided to make it kind of small, but the idea is make it big at the same time. What I mean by that is that the overall structure of the school would be simple and not so much like a castle. However, at the same time, to make up for that, it would be huge in scale. I worked on creating a kind of dragon in the front as the kind of figurehead of the school. I wanted it to be centered around kind of the idea of the moon in that case, as the school was intended to be founded by dragons, by a family of dragons. And I gave it many windows. I wanted it to be bright on the inside as much as possible. one area that side that would be around the cafeteria around one end, and then the gymnasium would be around the other end, and the school would be in the back. I wanted to make sure that the area also had trees and surrounding areas for people to play, and a front kind of yard that people would use. I kind of used and reference college and university campuses. By the time I reached the line art phase, things start to go and progress a little bit faster. I have everything put in place, and it's merely about lining and choosing where to put the shadows. In my line art process, I tend to put the shadows already in the line art step. I find that it adds more heavier shadows and makes things a little bit more graphic in nature, more comic book style that I tend to enjoy. I started to work on the color, paying particular attention to the values that I wanted and where I imagined the shadows were going to go. I wanted the main areas to be more vibrant and less important, to be more less saturated. And then quickest of all, the shadows were just coming from up above, from where the skies were, so all the shadows needed to be in the opposite direction. Alright, that's everything. Tune in next time for my next video, and I hope everyone has a great day. Okay, bye!